All right, we're pleased to be joined by a special guest wherever you may be tuning in. We thank you, whether it's on VirginiaPreps.com or our YouTube channel or here on 757 Saturday Sports Talk on ESPN Radio 94.1. This young man's a native of Suffolk, Virginia, Hampton University linebacker who was chosen second team All-Big South a season ago and recently made news for becoming the WWE's first NIL signee from an HBCU program. What's that mean? Well, World Wrestling Entertainment, now involved with name, image, and likeness, which was instituted a year ago by the NCAA, and he was an edge force for the Pirates of HU a season ago. Pretty big numbers, 13 and a half tackles for loss, also sacked the quarterback 7.5 times. 48 tackles, 6 QB hurries, a couple forced fumbles, and 2 fumble recoveries. The 6'3", 240-pound redshirt senior and linebacker defensive end, KeShaun Moore, with us. KeShaun, congrats on this recent news that just came out. Been a pretty hectic yet fun week, I imagine.
Yeah, definitely haven't been used to this type of, attention. So it's definitely, exciting for me.
How did all this come about? I mentioned the WWE's second next in line image and likeness class here, as you were named among 15 college athletes in this NIL class that was launched in December as a developmental program for the Pro Wrestling League, with athletes getting access to WWE's Performance Center in Florida, branding and public relations help, and more. How did this all happen?
It actually happened through a DM on Instagram, through their recruiting page. And at first I was kind of like skeptical of it because I didn't, never would have thought in a million years I'd have, a DM like that. So I had to, sit back and be like, okay, like, is it real? So now I was checking out the page, kind of looking up like some of the people who work in like the talent ID department and stuff. And I mean, it all cleared out. And, I was on the phone a lot with them constantly for a good few weeks. And then, started to gain their trust and things like that. And then kind of just went from there.
Well, especially nowadays with all these crazy accounts, you probably thought instantly, like, this has got to be some kind of fake profile or spam, right?
Yeah, their Instagram page being verified definitely helped out. But
Okay. That blue check mark is a big plus, yeah.
yeah, so and then they already had like their first class announced on the page and everything. And I was kind of just looking up like what the page is about and stuff, and kind of just looking into like the NIL stuff they have going on, since it is fairly new with them. It kind of just took for me to look up a couple of things of my own. And well, I'd say more so just talking with the guys that I've been in contact with in the talent ID department, just talking with them, every other day throughout the weeks and stuff. Kind of understanding it better helped out a lot.
I mean, did you ever dream of this and envision that this could be a possibility? And when did your interest in wrestling start, if you can take us through that a little bit?
Started when I was really young. Growing up as a young boy, you're always sports playing with your friends or your teammates and stuff like that. And playing football is kind of an aggressive sport. So it was kind of natural to be a fan of wrestling. I've always been a fan of combat sports, even to this day. And never really would have thought I would be, part of, the WWE, or like, even in a situation like now, even when the NIL stuff, first changed and stuff like that about a year ago, I never, would have thought, I'd have the opportunity to be a part of it.
Good deal. We'll get to your football season coming up, what's on tap for the Pirates, in just a moment. But so you were a youngster, I imagine, had the wrestling buddies or the little collectibles, and you were into it every night when it came on.
Yeah, definitely.
Who was your favorite wrestler? Or do you have a couple of them, or?
I had a couple I like watching. I think everybody liked The Undertaker growing up. I think he has probably one of the best like walkout songs. John Cena, I mean, he's John Cena. And then The Rock, I mean, everyone knows The Rock. A lot of my friends, we used to watch like Randy Orton, stuff like that, Rey Mysterio, The Big Show, Triple H, things like that. So we're kind of big fans of almost everyone, really.
I saw the comments in the release from Coach Robert Prunty about this opening doors for all kinds of athletes through NIL. Now, what does this all signify mean to you, KeShaun, to have this happen to you?
I think it shows other HBC athletes that they can have, an opportunity to be a part of, big organizations, in terms of like getting an NIL deal or things like that. I think it'll bring a lot of attention to the school, not just the football program, but the school and everything the school has to offer here at Hampton. And I think it, speaks volumes to other companies, and they might be, enticed to look at HBCU athletes for NIL deals, or, just HBCUs in general, to kind of, say, okay, maybe we should look here more, maybe get some interns, things like that. So I think it'll open up a lot of doors for athletes and regular students here and other HBCUs.
We're chatting with KeShaun Moore, a native of Suffolk, played his high school ball at Nansman Suffolk Academy for the States, got some hardware there, and then went on to play college football at James Madison, transferred to Lackawanna College, then eventually landing with the Hampton University Pirates. Our guest here on this VirginiaPreps.com Zoomcast, also available on YouTube and heard on ESPN Radio 94.1757 Saturday Sports Talk. Moore becoming the first ever historically black colleges and universities signee to join a diverse group of college athletes for the WWE, the company announcing its lineup for this year's Next in Line class. Will also be eligible for a lucrative contract with the wrestling establishment that could go up to $250,000 a year. KeShaun, as you look back to your formative years, high school days at NSA, what do you remember about all of them?
It was definitely a lot of growing, personally. I had a lot of, good friends. I still have, a couple close friends I talk to this day. It was definitely like an eye-opening experience. I went to Western Branch growing up mostly, and I spent 2 years in Churchland Middle. So I kind of been all over the 757 a little bit. So I've got a chance to kind of see things a lot differently when I went to NSA. And, my football experience there was, amazing. Won states my junior year, and I still talk to the guys who were on that team with me. So it was definitely fun.
Got the fondest or favorite memory winning that state championship? I think it was at the Sportsplex, right?
Yep. Yeah, we played Atlantic Shores at the Sportsplex.
Yeah, I've got a chance to call that game, I think, on the NFHS network. How much has the Suffolk community and those just across the 757, the people, played in your development and from then to now?
I'd say it was a big part. Growing up, like I said, I've been to 3 different schools growing up. So I got to meet all different types of people, got to see like different types of environments, living in 3 different cities. Everyone who's from the 7-5 knows every city has its own unique culture in a way. So being able to grow up and kind of see a lot of those, I think definitely helped me become more personable, be able to relate to a lot of people and a lot of different things like that. And playing football helps out a lot too, just because, that's, one of the main things that's talked about in the area. So I think that kind of helped get my name out there and give me a chance to meet a lot of different people that I maybe would have never met.
Awesome. What's the biggest difference in you, the college football player, as opposed to the high school one?
I would say definitely academics. I take academics a lot more seriously now than I did when I was in high school. When I was in high school, I was kind of just trying to get by, trying to do, just enough to not have to get a talking to or nothing like that. But now I kind of take pride in it, just because I don't want to have bad grades. I don't want to be lingering the line. I kind of want to go above and beyond. So I definitely work a lot harder in the classroom. And that's kind of always been, something that's been talked about, like my mom and stuff. She's like, you work super hard on the field and stuff, but you don't apply yourself in the classroom. So definitely picked up both ends of it, but now my academics and things like that match my work ethic on the field.
Yeah, I think it takes me back to teenage years when you'd hear mom and dad or whoever it is, uncle, family member say, you don't know what you don't know, and you just kind of roll the eyes, but now as you get older, you learn it. So let's kind of expand on that for a second, because you got a 3.0 GPA at Hampton, you graduated in May with a degree in liberal studies, and you plan to pursue a business and marketing degree, I see. How much pride do you take in making the Dean's List, the Honor Society, all these strides academically, and what would you tell that 15, 16-year-old kid out there who's playing ball, wants to be the next linebacker like you, or maybe WWE superstar, which you aspire to be here? What would you tell them, because you kind of lived it and gone through it?
I would say, don't take it for granted. You don't want to look back and say like, oh, like I could have done better. And I know some kids, even like myself, like I never knew like, what doors could open up for me, like with grades and stuff. I always thought it would be mainly football that would, and it has. But I think through my experience, I think the academics definitely have helped open doors for me as well. In terms of, talking to people about internships or, just having that box just checked off whenever like you're talking to media or like NFL scouts and things like that, because they're always going to ask, well, what kind of student were you, off the field and stuff like that, just as much as, are you a student of the game on the field? And I think having that box checked out is really big. It definitely relieves a lot of, stress, off someone's shoulders, just because they don't have to worry about, anyone saying like, oh, well, they're not doing good in school. Like, what are they doing to not be? So I think it's definitely helped out a lot.
Your college career began at JMU, then you went to Lackawanna College. How do you look back on this journey, and then what brought you to Hampton and your time now? How do you look at it?
I think the journey was well needed. I think it was God's path for me to kind of go the route I did. I've always been, pretty resilient, and I never let anything, get me down. I never stay down. I'm a pretty positive person. I always try to make the best out of everything. Going to Lackawanna was probably one of the best decisions I made in my life. Just talking to the coach up there, Coach Duda, being a part of that culture for a year and getting my associate's degree there. That's kind of where I had a good, nice reset in terms of, not just school and football, but just life in general. It gave me a different perspective on things, and I started to appreciate things more. And Lackawanna was where I really started to turn my academics around a lot and kind of just get that pride back in doing well in the classroom as well as on the field.
There have been some studs at Lackawanna. I believe you may know, could be friends with, is it Feldarius Payne, played at
Yeah.
Nansman and Virginia Tech. I mean, he's another guy that kind of, like you, used that path to help accelerate his football development and just in general as a person, too, I think.
Yeah, he's a good friend of mine. I've known him since we were in high school, and he graduated the year after me.
Okay.
And even when I was at JMU, I'd come back and I'd work out at Nansman River where he was at, because the old head coach there, Coach Justin Conyers, he used to coach me in high school my junior year. So I'd always come back and help like coach kids or just live with them and things like that. So me and him had kind of been friends for a good few years, and that's kind of how I even got to Lackawanna, because I knew him and I got in touch with him, and then kind of just went from there.
Good deal. A few more minutes here with KeShaun Moore, the stalwart at linebacker and defensive end for the Hampton University Pirates, a second-team All-Big South performer a season ago. Pirates open up their season coming up September 3rd against Howard at Armstrong Stadium at 6 o'clock Eastern. It is 757 Saturday Sports Talk on ESPN Radio 94.1, also available on VirginiaPreps.com and our YouTube channel. We'll finish up with Rapid Fire with KeShaun, who was named among the 15 college athletes in the WWE's next in line name, image, and likeness class. There have been 31 athletes so far in the program, and 6 have graduated, the WWE says, and KeShaun becoming the first NIL signee from an HBCU program. KeShaun, is it a balancing act with football and wrestling now, or do you put wrestling on the back burner entirely until after your football season's done?
I don't want to say I'm putting, wrestling on the back burner, but, anything I'm doing, I put 110% into. I'm currently here at school now. We just started workouts this week. So my focus is on, football and, trying to better myself for the season and trying to, grow my teammates and things like that. Learning the playbook, things like that. So my focus is definitely on that. I don't want to let any off-field stuff distract me from what I need to take care of on the field and even in the classroom and things like that. I still, hold myself to a certain standard. So I still have to perform in, every aspect that I'm doing. And the WWE stuff is great, and I'm very grateful for it. And, I'm just taking everything in slowly. Don't want to rush anything. And I still want to remember, what even got me the WWE deal, which is, playing collegiate football. So definitely can't forget about that. So definitely, really excited about the football season. That COVID year kind of revamped a little fire in me, wanting to get back playing again. And last year was, a great year. So I'm just looking forward to building off last year with my teammates.
Good deal. And now, why will football help you in a potential wrestling career in your eyes, and why will wrestling help you in a potential football career?
I'd say football would help with wrestling, just because, I play in the trenches. So, like, it's pretty much a combat sport. You're always hitting somebody, twerking your body. You got to use your hands. You got to be violent, things like that. And then growing up, even, like, horse playing with, like, teammates and stuff like that, I've kind of just always been around it. And I think it would help out, like, a lot. And, like, the competitiveness that I have within me if it gets there, like, I'll just transition from football to wrestling. So it'll be a smooth transition for me, honestly. And then wrestling transition into football, I would say, some of the similar things, but I think a lot more like the PR type stuff, like the talking to media and the off field, kind of like just way you like promote yourself and market yourself, because it does take practice, and you got to know how to talk to media and things like that. So I think having all this attention these last couple of days has definitely made me want to hone in more on skills like that. So that'll definitely help.
Yeah, probably more interviews this week than you've had the last 10, 15 years combined. Last two for you before we do the rapid fire. Joining the Colonial Athletic Association, tell us the excitement about the CAA and the upcoming season, and you face some nearby or in-state rivals with Norfolk State and Richmond and William & Mary, so you'll have to be jacked for that, I would think.
Yeah, I'm excited for, every football game, whoever we play. There's always that little edge when you play certain people. Coming from JMU, I've already been in the CAA conference before, so I have a little bit better understanding than some of my teammates, but I think it'll be fun. Me and my teammates, and I know the whole coaching staff is definitely looking forward to it. It's a big step for, us as a team, but also HBCUs, because that's a pretty high level of football for HBCUs to be playing at. So I'm excited, and I'm looking forward to it.
Now, I understand you're a big fan of Little Caesars stuffed crust pizza.
Yes.
What's the deal with Little Caesars pizza? Why is it so different from the rest of them?
Well, it better matches my price point being a college student right now. So I say that.
All right.
But it definitely tastes good, though.
Okay, he's shooting for maybe an NIL deal. You never know. All right, let's do some rapid fire. You ready?
Yep.
Here we go with KeShaun Moore, Nansman Suffolk Academy product, who played at Lackawanna College and James Madison University before becoming a member of the Pirates at HU, where he was an all-conference performer a season ago. All right, what would be your catchy wrestling nickname if you had to pick one today? They all got one. What's the catchy wrestling nickname?
If I had to come up with one, I'd maybe say like Caesar, maybe.
Caesar. Oh, we'll get to that in a second. Best movie you've seen is what?
Planet of the Apes,
Okay. Favorite TV show?
Family Guy,
All right, we get that a lot. NFL player you enjoy watching most is who?
Aaron Donald.
All right, Super Bowl champ, defensive stud, player of the year, all those good things. How about the best player you've ever played against in high school or college would be?
Played a lot of good ones, so I'd say probably one of the most poised quarterbacks I ever played was maybe Blake LaRussa. He played at Sullivan, so he was a pretty good quarterback.
Yeah, helped engineer that big Old Dominion upset at Virginia Tech a few years back. Most number of slices of pizza you've consumed in a day?
Like 15, maybe.
15 in a day?
Yeah.
Wow. So that's 2 boxes of Little Caesars, I take it.
Well, each box comes with like 8, so.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's almost 2. Almost 2.
Yeah,
All right.
close to 2.
You're allowed. It's okay. Trade places with one person in the world. Who you choosing?
Yeah, I wouldn't even know who to choose, because I enjoy my life so much. Like I don't even know who else I would, choose like to switch places with. But if I had to say, I'd maybe say maybe DeMarcus Lawrence or something. He plays with the Cowboys, and that's been my family team growing up. So
All
maybe
right.
something like that.
Okay. You can visit one place in the world you've never been. Where would you go?
Dallas, Texas.
Okay. Last 2. Song you're ashamed to admit you sing along to. Now you're getting paid by your dudes when this comes out, by the way.
I'm not ashamed to say it either, but
Okay.
I like "Hello" by Adele. It's a great song.
All right. You listen to the Adele song. Good deal. And then lastly, you can wrestle one current person in WWE. Who you picking? Just one person. Who you choosing?
One person. I might catch some heat for this one. If I had to pick one person, I don't know. I get told I look like him a little bit, but maybe like Roman Reigns or something like that.
Okay.
He's a pretty big star in it, so.
Okay. Well, hey, KeShaun, it's been a real neat thing to watch you grow up from the high school days at NSA to now with the Pirates of HU. All the best. Congrats again on this WWE NIL deal, and we wish you continued success both on the gridiron and beyond when it comes to inside the ring and the ropes. Keep in touch, and we'll talk to you soon.
All right, thank you. I appreciate it.
You got it. KeShaun Moore, standout football player and soon-to-be wrestler as well from Hampton University. He a product of the 757 with us here on our VirginiaPreps.com Zoomcast. Also available on YouTube and on ESPN Radio 94.1.